Hello students, I am Mrs. Vaishali Rahul Vargad from New English Medium Secondary School. Today we are going to learn Science and Technology Part 1, Lesson number 5, Heat. Let us learn the lesson with the help of PPT. We know that there are different forms of energy such as light energy, sound energy, electrical energy, nuclear energy, and thermal energy, etc. Among these, thermal energy is nothing but heat energy. Heat is a form of energy flowing from one body of matter to another spontaneously due to their temperature difference. In very simple words, we can define heat as flow of energy from a warm object to a cooler object. Heat always transfer from body of higher temperature to a body of lower temperature. In the previous standard, we have learnt different modes of heat transfer. Look at the picture. What do you observe? Water is being heated in a pan over flame. The pan receives the heat from flame in the form of radiation. When the light receives the heat, molecules of water start moving away from the source. This type of heat transfer is called convection. Conduction is mode of heat transfer, physical contact. Thus, there are three modes of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. Let us know what is the difference between heat and temperature. Temperature is measure of degree of hotness or coldness of an object. Thus, it is a measure which tells us how hot or cold something is. Latent heat. The word latent means hidden or dormant. It is the heat absorbed or released by a substance undergoing a change of state. For example, ice changing to liquid water or liquid water changing to ice at constant temperature and pressure. Latent heat can be studied with the help of an experiment. For this, take few pieces of ice in a beaker. Insert the bulb of thermometer in the ice and measure its temperature. Put the beaker on the stand and heat the ice using a burner. Record the temperature after every minute. As the ice is heated, it starts melting. Stir the mixture and continue heating even after ice starts melting. Draw a graph of temperature versus time. Let us see video showing above experiment.
Change of state and specific latent heat. Specific latent heat is the amount of heat energy required to change the state of a unit mass of a substance without change in temperature. The word latent means dormant or concealed. Let's perform an activity to find out why the heat energy required to bring about a change of state is called latent heat. Take some ice cubes in a beaker. Suspend a thermometer into the ice cubes and note its temperature. The temperature is 0 degrees centigrade. Heat the ice cubes. Record the temperature after every minute. Keep stirring the ice-water mixture constantly so that the temperature is uniform throughout. We observe that the thermometer reading remains constant at 0 degrees centigrade, though heat is being constantly supplied. The temperature remains constant till the ice completely melts to water at 0 degrees centigrade. Continue heating water which is at 0 degrees centigrade. We observe that the temperature is increasing. Record the rise in temperature till the water starts boiling. Continue heating. The boiling water gets converted to steam. Observe that the thermometer reading remains constant at 100 degrees centigrade, which is the boiling point of water. That is, there is no change in temperature. This shows that the temperature remains constant whenever there is a change of state. What happens to the energy supplied? The energy supplied is used to break the intermolecular force of attraction existing between the molecules, and therefore the thermometer does not register a rise in temperature whenever there is a change of state. Since the energy supplied is not recorded in the thermometer, the heat supplied is called latent heat. Graph shown here represents the changes taking place when ice at 0 degrees centigrade is heated.
Study the graph carefully. In this graph, line AB represents conversion of ice into water at constant temperature 0 degrees Celsius. This constant temperature at which the ice converts into water is called the melting point of ice. During this transition, ice absorbs heat energy which is utilized for weakening the bonds between atoms and molecules of ice and transform it into water. Thus, in general, heat energy absorbed at constant temperature during transformation of solid into liquid is called latent heat of fusion. If we continue heating even after conversion of all ice into water, temperature of water starts rising and reaches 100 degrees Celsius. The line BC represents rise in the temperature of water from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. At 100 degrees Celsius, water starts converting into steam and it remains same till all water is converted into steam. The constant temperature at which liquid transforms into gaseous state is called the boiling point of the liquid. The heat energy absorbed by water is used to break bonds between molecules of liquid and to convert liquid into gaseous state. Therefore, heat is absorbed by the liquid, but its temperature does not change. The heat energy absorbed at constant temperature during transformation of liquid into gaseous is called latent heat of vaporization. Thus, you can observe that at AB and CD, heat is absorbed but temperature does not increase. This hidden heat is called latent heat. We can define specific latent heat of fusion. When we say specific, we have to mention mass of the solid. The amount of heat energy absorbed at constant temperature by unit mass of a solid to convert into liquid phase is called the specific latent heat of fusion. Similarly, we can define specific latent heat of vaporization. The amount of heat energy absorbed at constant temperature by unit mass of liquid to convert into gaseous phase is called specific latent heat of vaporization. You must have ate an ice ball sometime, but do you know how it is prepared? First, an ice slab is shredded and then shredded ice is pressurized around the tip of the stick. How does the shredded ice convert into solid ice ball? This happens due to a phenomenon called radiation. Radiation can be understood with the help of a small experiment. We have to take a ice slab as shown in the figure. Take a metal wire and hang two equal weights to the two ends of wire. Put the wire on the ice slab and observe. We can observe that wire slowly penetrates into the ice slab. After some time, the wire comes out of the lower surface of the ice slab. However, the ice slab does not break. How does this happen? This happens due to radiation, the phenomenon in which the ice converts into liquid due to applied pressure and then reconverts to ice once the pressure is removed is called radiation. The wire puts the pressure on the ice due to which the melting point of ice decreases below 0 degrees Celsius. This means that At 0 degrees Celsius, ice melts into water. As the wire goes down, pressure is removed and melting point of ice is restored at 0 degrees Celsius. Thus, water gets converted into ice again. Anomalous behavior of water. Generally, when solid or liquid is heated, they expand. Thus, volume increases and density decreases, and vice versa takes place when they are cooled. This is how substances generally react to heat. The anomalous expansion of water is an abnormal property of water. When ice is heated from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, instead of expanding, it contracts. Conversely, if water is cooled from room temperature to 4 degrees Celsius, its volume decreases. Below 4 degrees Celsius, volume of water increases as it expands, and thus density is maximum at 4 degrees Celsius. This means that water has minimum volume and maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. This property has an important environmental effect. How can we verify that volume of water is minimum at 4 degrees Celsius? For this, we have to perform one activity. Take 1 kg of water, that is 1000 gram, and start heating it from 0 degrees Celsius. Note down the temperature and volume after every minute. Now, plot a graph of volume versus temperature. We can clearly observe from the graph that volume of water is minimum at 4 degrees Celsius. As the volume and density are inversely proportional, density of water is maximum at 4 degrees Celsius. Study of anomalous behavior of water can be studied with the help of Hope's apparatus. Thomas Charles Hope was an English physicist who invented this apparatus to study changes in the water density caused by cooling. Let us study the construction of Hope's apparatus. Hope's apparatus consists of a flat bowl attached to a cylindrical container. This cylindrical container has provision to attach thermometer T2 above and thermometer T1 below the flat bowl respectively. Water is filled in the cylindrical container and a freezing mixture of ice and salt is put in the flat bowl. During the study of anomalous behavior of water using Hope's apparatus, temperature T1 and temperature T2 are recorded after every 30 seconds. If we continue taking readings and plot a graph of time versus temperature, we get a graph as shown on the slide. The graph shows that initially both the temperatures T1 and T2 are identical. As the time passes, temperature T1 decreases fast, and after that the temperature T2 records 0 degrees Celsius. The point of intersection of two curves shows the temperature of minimum density, that is 4 degrees Celsius. How this happens? Initially, temperature of water, which is at the middle part of cylinder, lowers due to freezing mixture. Its volume decreases and density increases, and it moves downwards. Thus, T1 shows rapid fall in temperature. This continues till temperature of water becomes 4 degrees Celsius. When temperature of water starts decreasing below 4 degrees Celsius, its volume increases and density decreases. Therefore, it moves in upward direction and T2 decreases rapidly to 0 degrees Celsius. The temperature of T1 remains at 4 degrees Celsius for some time and then decreases slowly to 0 degrees Celsius. Anomalous expansion of water plays an important role in the preserving of aquatic life in regions of cold climate. Let us observe what happens in cold region during winter.
The anomalous expansion of water plays an important role in the survival of aquatic animals and plants in cold countries. During winter season, as the temperature of water decreases, water at the surface of lakes, rivers, sea, etc. starts contracting. As the temperature drops till 4 degrees Celsius, water behaves normally. That is, its volume decreases and density increases. Hence it sinks to the bottom. This process continues until the temperature of all the water in a lake falls to 4 degrees Celsius. Now, as the water at the surface cools below 4 degrees Celsius, it expands instead of contracting, and thus its density decreases. As a result, it becomes lighter than the rest of the water, and remains on the surface of the lake. The temperature of this water goes on decreasing to 0 degrees Celsius, and finally it's converted into ice. As ice is a bad conductor of heat, water below surface layer remains at 4 degrees Celsius. As a result, fish and other aquatic animals remain alive in this water.
Thus, we have seen when atmospheric temperature starts decreasing, water at the surface starts contracting. Hence, its density increases and it goes down the bottom. This process continues. Temperature of all water falls to 4 degrees Celsius. When water starts cooling below 4 degrees Celsius, due to anomalous behavior of water, it starts expanding. Its density decreases and it remains at the surface. At 0 degrees Celsius, it converts into ice. As ice is a bad conductor of heat, it does not allow transfer of heat from water to atmosphere. Thus, water below ice is at 4 degrees Celsius and plants and other aquatic animals survive. Sometimes we say that today weather is dry or humid. How do we decide this? We decide the state of daily weather on the basis of amount of water vapor in the air. The amount of water vapor in the air is called humidity. For a given volume of air at specific temperature, there is a limit on how much water vapor the air can contain. If the amount of water vapor exceeds the limit, excess of water vapor converts into water droplets. Means this happens when air is saturated. When air contains maximum water vapor, it is said to be saturated. The amount of water vapor required to saturate the air depends on temperature of air. If temperature of air is low, less water vapor is needed to saturate the air. And if temperature of air is more, less amount of water vapor is needed to saturate the air. Suppose unsaturated air at a certain temperature is taken and its temperature is decreased. A temperature at which the air becomes saturated with water vapor is called dew point temperature. The vapor content in the air is measured using a physical quantity called absolute humidity. The mass of vapor present in unit volume of air is called absolute humidity. It is measured in kilogram per meter cube. The amount of water vapor required to saturate the air depends on the temperature of the air. We can also measure amount of water vapor in terms of relative humidity. The ratio of actual mass of water vapor content for a given volume and temperature to the required mass of vapor needed to make the air saturated is called relative humidity. The relative humidity at dew point is 100%. If relative humidity is more than 60%, we feel that air is humid, and if it is less than 60%, we feel that air is dry. Let us learn the units of heat. The SI unit of heat is joule and CGS unit is calorie. We can define 1 calorie heat. The amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat. Similarly, the amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 kg of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 kilocalorie heat. 1 kilocalorie is equal to 1000 calorie and 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. How can we find out specific heat capacity of a particular object? For this, we can do one activity. Take a tray of wax, 3 solid spheres of iron, lead and copper, burner or spirit lamp, large beaker, etc. Take 3 spheres of iron, copper and lead of equal mass. Put all 3 spheres in boiling water in beaker for some time. Take all 3 spheres out of the water. All 3 spheres will be at same temperature, that is at 100 degrees Celsius. Put them immediately on the thick slab of wax. Note the depth that each of the sphere goes into the wax. What do you observe? It is observed that iron sphere goes deepest into the wax, lead sphere goes to the least and copper sphere goes to the intermediate depth. This means that the property which determines the amount of heat absorbed by a sphere is different for the 3 spheres. This property is called specific heat capacity. Thus, we can define specific heat capacity as the amount of heat energy required to raise temperature of a unit mass of object by 1 degree Celsius is called the specific heat of that substance. The SI unit of specific heat is joule per kg degree Celsius and CGS unit is calorie per gram degree Celsius. The heat energy absorbed by the object is equal to mc delta T, where m is the mass of an object, c is specific heat capacity and delta T is the difference in the rise of the temperature. How can we study heat exchange between a hot object and cold object? If heat is exchanged between a hot and cold object, the temperature of cold object goes on increasing due to gain of energy and temperature of hot object goes on decreasing due to loss of energy. The change in the temperature continues till temperature of both the objects attain same temperature. If we keep both the objects in a heat resistance box so that there will be energy exchange between only 2 objects and no energy is lost to the surrounding, we get principle of heat exchange. Thus, principle of heat exchange is heat lost by the hot object, it is equal to the heat energy gained by cold object. We can measure specific heat of a solid object with the help of calorimeter. A calorimeter is a device used to measure the quantity of heat transferred to or from an object. It consists of a wooden box with lid in which a copper vessel is kept. A measured amount of water is added in a copper vessel in which a thermometer and stirrer is dipped. If a hot solid object is put in the water in a calorimeter, there is heat exchange between the hot object and water and calorimeter. This continues till the temperature of the solid object, water and calorimeter become equal. Therefore, heat lost by solid object is equal to heat gained by water in calorimeter plus heat gained by the calorimeter. Let heat lost by solid object be Q. Therefore, Q is equal to mass of solid object into its specific heat capacity into decrease in its temperature. Similarly, heat gained by water be Q1. Q1 is equal to mass of water into its specific heat capacity into increase in its temperature. Thus, heat lost by hot object is equal to heat gained by water plus heat gained by calorimeter. Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. If specific heat of water and calorimeter is known, specific heat of solid object can be calculated using the above equation. Students, we have learned today what is mean by latent heat, specific latent heat of fusion and vaporization, anomalous behavior of water using Hope's apparatus, absolute humidity and relative humidity, specific heat capacity, heat exchange between the hot object and the cold object, and how to measure specific heat by using calorimeter. Thank you.